Hello students, how are you all? Hopefully all are well as usual, and once again you are welcome at next class of current electricity, our second unit of our 12th class syllabus. And in the previous class the topic which we have completed, that was resistivity, and few questions we have discussed over that. With respect to that only, today we are starting with a note which will help you a lot, especially in case of numericals, and that is effect of stretching a wire on its resistance. While studying the Ohm's law, we have studied that the factor R will remain constant till we have maintained constant temperature to maintain constant value of relaxation time, and mechanical strain must not be there, so that length and area remain same, and then only I and V will be in direct proportionality, that we have already discussed there. So from that only we came to know that whenever there is mechanical strain over the wire, it is stretched, compressed, reformed, remolded, then there will be change in length and cross section area, and that will impact the value of resistance, especially resistance, not resistivity. Be careful about this. So effect of stretching a wire or reforming a wire with the same material and without adding the material or removing material from it, this is for that case. Effect of stretching a wire on its resistance, for that we are assuming a wire of certain value of length, suppose L1, and certain area of cross section A1, radius R1, or we can say diameter D1. It is stretched and reformed. When it is stretched, then obviously its length will increase and cross section area will reduce. Cross section area becomes A2, length becomes L2, then again radius becomes R2 and diameter becomes D2. So here if we assume the factor which will remain constant, that is one factor resistivity, it will not change because it is the characteristic property of the material, and also on temperature. So we are assuming on stretching or compressing there is no change in the temperature, so resistivity will remain same. Then value of resistance will change, R1 and R2, and one more factor which will remain same, that is volume initial and volume final. This concept we have used in numericals, that we have discussed in the previous class, so we are using the same concept, and from that we can say volume initial and volume final, if they are same, then it must be A1 L1 equals to A2 L2. From this we can have the ratio of L1 and L2 equals to A2 by A1. If the relation is like this, and we know that R is proportional to L and inversely proportional to area, so from this we can say R1 is proportional to L1 by A1 because rho is constant, and R2 is proportional to L2 by A2. Taking the ratio of the two, we will have R1 by R2, ratio will be L1 by L2 into A2 by A1. This is the relation which will help us to find the ratio of resistance, or if one resistance is given, second we can easily find out by using this relationship. Now in this only, if L1 by L2 is equals to A2 by A1, so L1 by L2 is A2 by A1, so A2 by A1 and A2 by A1 in square, also A2 by A1 is L1 by L2, so putting here L1 by L2, it will be L1 by L2 whole square. So we will have this relationship, we will have the relation like this, R1 by R2 maybe L1 by L2 whole square, or A2 by A1 whole square, or also one more relation we have of area and radius is pi r square, or pi diameter square by 4. So both radius and diameter are in square relationship for area. So area A2 by A1 will be R2 by R1 square, it will be power 4, or D2 by D1 square will be power 4 D2 by D1 also. This would be the relation which we can use directly for finding the result. And one more important relation, as we have A1 L1 equals to A2 L2, This is separate relation which you can use directly. A1 L1 is equals to A2 L2, and if we assume L2 is n times of L1 in stretching, so relation will be A1 L1 equals to A2 into n L1. So L1 and L1 will be cancelled and A2 will be A1 by n. So here this is the important relation which we have to take care, that during stretching the factor in multiplication with length for final with respect to initial, the factor which is in multiplication with length, it will be in division with area. If we are compressing the wire, it will be vice versa, means initial will be of this shape and final will be of this shape. In compressing, the factor in multiplication with area will be in division with length, and this concept, if you know, you can use it directly in the numerical also. Already we have discussed the method in the previous class. Over there we have discussed one question, and one question was given for your homework also. Hopefully you have done that, and this is the concept which you can use directly over there. So you can note down it by pausing. So after this we have to discuss few important terms which we used to discuss in current electricity, and we have their significance in different places. So here the first term which we have to discuss is mobility. Mobility, this word is derived from the word mobile, which makes the body movable. Here the word mobility refers to the ease of motion of the charge carriers through the conductor or through the medium through which they are flowing. So we can define it in this way: it is a factor which measures ease of flow of electrons in a conductor. This we can understood in a very simple way. Suppose you are moving with your vehicle, and over the road, if it is found empty, then we can say that you can move easily, smoothly through that road. So over there your mobility will be higher. But if the same road is packed with other vehicles and traffic jam situation is there, then we can say that while passing through that area, over there the value of mobility is low, decreases. So in the same way, electrons have the same term mobility, which indicates how easily the charge carriers are moving or electrons are moving through the conductor to make electric current. So for that we can consider a conductor, and that conductor, when it has electric current in this direction suppose, then we know that all the free electrons will be moving in opposite direction with certain velocity, and this velocity we know this as drift velocity. If this is positive and this is negative, and from positive to negative electric field will be there, due to which these electrons are moving, but their motion is not very simple. We have already discussed, in between the path positive ions are there and continuous collision is there, which causes resistance, but somehow they manage to pass through this and makes electric current. So during that, here the value of drift velocity, how much value it is, for what value of electric field it is applicable, the ratio of the two gives us the value of this term, and hence we define using this formula also. It is drift velocity per unit electric field. In the formula of drift velocity we have E tau upon m, and this E in denominator will be cancelled with this factor in numerator, and the formula becomes E tau upon m. This one more formula is there for drift velocity, for mobility, and SI unit for this, from here we can say meter per second, and this is volt per meter, meter per second, volt per meter. So meter square per volt second, or from this coulomb second per kg. Both unit we can give for this term. So this is our first term, mobility, very important role. This is the factor which tells us how easily the charge carriers are moving. Greater the value of mobility, smoothly the current will pass through the conductor. Next term is current density. This is again associated with flow of charge carriers or electrons or current carriers through the conductor. Suppose this is the conductor having certain cross section area A, and this current is flowing in this direction. It means all electrons are moving in opposite direction in this way. So what value of current is passing through what value of cross section area? For that we should take care of this condition also, that current should be perpendicular to the cross section area taken. We cannot take the cross section area in any direction so that its value may change. Here we have fixed the direction of cross section with respect to direction of this current, and that is perpendicular. This is the necessary condition, and using this form only we are defining and giving the formula that for current density it is defined as the current flowing per unit area of cross section provided cross section is perpendicular to the direction of current. So if we write the formula for this, J, it is I upon A, and in vector form, because it is vector quantity, in vector form we used to represent it like this: J vector is equals to I by A, both are scalar quantity, so we will use here n cap, where n cap is giving the direction perpendicular to the cross section area. And here if we write the SI unit, it is ampere per meter square, and if you need to write quantity type, it is vector, so there must be direction, it is along current, along direction of current. And if we need to write the dimensional formula too, we have current is A and A is L2, so it is AL minus 2. Simple way we can write the dimensional formula also. So you can note down the relation. So the next term we have to discuss here is conductance. We have discussed the term resistance while studying the Ohm's law, very important relation, and over there we came to know about the factor resistance, the factor which opposes the flow of charge carriers passing through the conductor, or we can say which opposes the flow of current passing through the conductor, the factor due to which the opposition is measured towards flow of charge carriers or towards passage of electric current through the conductor, that is known as resistance. In the same way, how easily the current is passing, with the help of resistance we are measuring, how difficult is there for the electric current to pass through the conductor. In the same way, or we can say in reverse way, we are giving the concept of conductance, that the factor which tells us how easily the current or charge carriers can pass through the conductor, means we can say it is just the reverse of resistance. So simple way we can define it, it is just the reverse, that means reciprocal of resistance. Simple term, greater the value of conductance, easily the charge carriers or current will pass through the conductor. So G will be 1 by R. Formula for R we have studied as rho L by A also, so it will be A by rho L. And very important relation for R, it was ML upon NE squared tau A. Over there we have used capital L, so here also we can write same capital L. So this is the expression, actual expression for conductance, and from this only the SI unit we can give 1 by R, so it must be ohm inverse, also known as MHO, in reverse it is ohm, or also known as Simon. Then dimensional formula if required, for resistance it was ML2 T minus 3 A minus 2, so it must be M minus 1 L minus 2 T3 A2. Simple way. Got it? So this is the term which helps us to measure how easily the charge carriers are or current is passing through the conductor. In the same way we can give the concept of next conductance for specific material. Over there we have studied about resistance, reciprocal of that becomes conductance. Similarly over there we have studied about resistivity also, the resistance for the specific material or due to the specific nature of the material. In the same way we have conductivity, also known as specific conductance, denoted by sigma, and hopefully you must have understood that its definition is also, it is reciprocal of resistivity of conductor. whatever the value of resistivity is there, take the reciprocal of that, you will get the specific conductance or conductivity for the term. Sigma is 1 by rho. For rho we have formula m upon n square tau. So n square tau by m must be the form for conductivity. And similarly SI unit, it was ohm meter, so it must be ohm inverse meter inverse or Simon per meter we can say. Over there the dimensional formula we have studied as 1 by ml3 t minus 3 a minus 2. So here it must be m minus 1 l minus 3 t3 and a2, or you can try it by yourself by putting the dimensions of these factors also. In that way also you can understood the concept. So here is the expression for conductivity and conductance. Same way you can note down by pausing the video. So after studying these terms, we have to find a relation amongst them, and that is the relationship between J sigma and E, and that is J is equals to sigma E. We have to prove this. So we will start with the formula for J, and for that we know that current density, the term current density J, it is defined as current flowing per unit area. Also the form for I is equals to NEA VD, this we have already discussed. So substituting in first equation, so first equation implies that J is equals to NEA VD divided by A, and this will give us the formula J is equals to NEVD. Now this is equation number 2. We have to find the relation between J, E and sigma. J we have, and in drift velocity we know that electric field is there, so we can use the same formula, putting formula for VD as E tau upon m in above equation. We can get J is equals to NE into E tau upon m. Then separating this E, we will have J NE squared tau upon m remaining expression and multiplied with E. Now if we take this expression in the bracket, this m upon NE squared tau, m upon NE squared tau is rho, and in reverse it will be sigma as usual. We have already studied this. So the direct formula in the bracket is sigma, and J is equals to sigma E. In this way it is proved, and it is also known as microscopic form of Ohm's law. Here these terms are used over the microscopic level for the individual charge carriers in the form of electrons or other charge carriers. So J sigma E all deals with individual particles, so we call this as microscopic form of Ohm's law also, and on the name of this the topic can be asked in the paper also. So again important, and to represent this, let's mark it important. You can note down the same relation by pausing the video. So our basic terms also completed, and now this is the time to discuss one interesting question, and that is, does V equals to IR defines which law? V equals to IR defines Ohm's law. If question is this, what would be your answer? Does V equals to IR define Ohm's law? Keep the formula in your mind. I proportional to V, V proportional to I, V equals to Ri. If we have written IR or Ri, it means the same. So V equals to IR formula, whether it is giving Ohm's law or not. So the general expectation from the student is that they will say yes, but the exact answer is no. The correct answer is no. How? This is the important part. Why V equals to IR is not defining Ohm's law while it is the result which we have derived while discussing the Ohm's law. Actually, the statement of Ohm's law says that I and V are in direct proportionality. Current flowing is directly proportional to applied potential difference provided R is constant. Provided over there we have written temperature constant, temperature should be constant, mechanical strength should be constant, and for these two constant conditions R is constant, that we have already discussed. So this relation V equals to IR is not saying that R is constant, it is just the relationship which we have obtained after Ohm's law. So this is not the final or proper condition to represent Ohm's law. So answer should be no, as Ohm's law is I proportional to V at constant R. R should be constant to apply Ohm's law, and this answer originates our next topic, that is called limitations of Ohm's law. Limitations of Ohm's law. Limitations of Ohm's law says that Ohm's law is not applicable everywhere. Although current will be produced by applying potential difference, the moment we increases potential difference, the same moment current will increase, but that will be in direct proportionality at the constant value of resistance of the medium. But in our general practical conditions, the value of R is not constant always, or it is not even constant for different materials also, which we uses in our electrical circuits. So where it is applicable, where it is not, for that we have to discuss the condition, and that is when we draw IV graph for various materials, then we came to know that IV graph for conductor, it is especially for copper, it is obtained like this. For Ohm's law, IV graph should be a straight line exactly at 45 degree with voltage or current axis. This shows that R is constant. But when we draw the graph by putting the experimental values, it is observed that initially the relation is directly proportionality, but after at higher voltage it ceases to constant current. Voltage can increase but current start becoming constant. So current becoming constant with increasing voltage, this shows that relationship between I and V is disturbed. So here it is deviating, but for lower values it will be a straight line, and if a straight line, then it will be considered as Ohm's law. Then another factor, IV graph for diode. This is again very important device which we uses in our electronic devices. Nowadays most of the devices contains this device. Later on we will discuss it in last unit, not here in detail, but we have a graph for I and V for this material like this. Detail of the graph will be discussed later in the last unit, but here it shows this type of graph. This again shows curve between I and V. The value of R is not constant, R is not equal to constant here, and hence no Ohm's law is valid in this case also. Similarly, if we draw IV graph for another material, gallium arsenide, the material obtained from combination of gallium and arsenic, so the graph is like this. Very interesting graph it has, I and V. It shows, initially it shows straight line, then it makes curve like this, in this way. So till this black part the Ohm's law is applicable, we can say, but here resistance is not constant. Here in this we can say resistance is changing, variable resistance. So again Ohm's law is disturbed, and here it is showing negative resistance. Very interesting fact. Negative resistance, it is showing that when we are increasing the V voltage, the value of current start decreasing. This is the particular behavior of this material. Later on we will discuss in the last unit again about the detail of this graph, but still the value of R is not constant at all. So again we have another material which is not following the Ohm's law, where V and I are not exactly in direct relationship. In most of the conductors at lower voltages we have validity of the Ohm's law, but not always. While these materials for which Ohm's law is not valid, these are mostly used in our electronic devices. So this shows that Ohm's law is not applicable everywhere, but the result V is equals to IR is applicable for the every case. I and V, although value of R is not constant, it is variable, so value of relationship of V equals to IR will be applicable in all the three cases, but not exactly in the form of Ohm's law, and hence we can say that from the limitation of Ohm's law, it is not applicable for all medium through which current passes. So on the basis of this, we have conductors of two types, ohmic conductors and non-ohmic conductors. Ohmic conductors, obviously those conductors which obey Ohm's law, they obeys Ohm's law, and here non-ohmic conductors are those which are not obeying, do not obey Ohm's law. So if we write the example for these, we have example for ohmic conductors as alloys, metals, etc. While here we have semiconductors, diodes, electrolytes. These are those conductors through which electric current can pass, but they are not giving the constant value of resistance. So you can note down the same relationship. So with this we have completed the concepts related with Ohm's law, and for today's class we are ending it here only, and in the next class we will start with a very important topic, that is the temperature dependence of resistance and resistivity. Over there we will discuss about how the value of temperature is affecting the value of resistance and resistivity of a conductor and some other conducting materials also, like for semiconductors, for electrolyte also. Over there for same we will discuss, but that we will discuss in next class. So we will meet in next class then, and till then take care, goodbye.